Hello everyone, it's Justine. Today I'm going to be making two different cards, and both of them are using the 4-petal collection from Spellbinders. This one over here is going to be using the 4-petal Thank You floral die. And on the background I'm using the embossing folder of the month from Spellbinders. And the oval that I used to cut out was part of the postal layered collection that was from Spellbinders from last year. The sentiment is from the stamp set that goes with the collection called 4-Petal Sweet Day Flowers. That stamp set has a lot of sentiments on it. I'll just put a picture of it on the screen here. I think that that one is one that I will be reaching for quite a few different cards because it has a simple font and a lot of sentiments for all sorts of different occasions. Then this card over here, I'm using the same embossing folder that I used on this black one, which is the embossing folder of the month for February. The same oval die I used was from the Postal Edge collection from Spellbinders, and then I stamped this beautiful floral area on with the 4-Petal Sweet Day Flower stamp set, which was the same one that has the sentiments. So when I was coloring the flowered area, I used my Copic markers. I used a lot of the violets, the blue violets, and for the greens and kind of the stems, I used a lot of the blue greens just to kind of pull in that kind of cool tone look. Then with the blueberry kind of a thing here, I think I used kind of like the cobalt blue kind of color. So I usually do a lot of my coloring off camera just because it seems to be quite a lengthy process and I'm not a professional colorer at all. So I just thought that that is kind of the way that I do things. So both of these cards are A2 size cards. So the main base here is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Then when I layer on a piece like this will be 4 inches, so it's just a quarter short of the main card here by 5 1/4, which is again just a 1/4 inch border kind of going around the edge. And I like to have these two pieces kind of match this. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but just something to kind of tie it all together. Then I'm going to stick this on, and kind of a quick assembly here, but I did want to pull out some really fun embellishments that I have here. So let's just stick that on and grab some embellishments. These are self-adhesive embellishments from Spellbinders, and I thought that the taupe would be kind of a nice soft color to go with the card kind of tone. And I see here it looks like I forgot to stick this part down, so I'm just going to add a little liquid glue where I forgot to put the tape runner. Just kind of squeeze it in there and hope for the best. The nice thing about the self-adhesive embellishments is that they're already sticky, so you don't have to sit there and fuss with a glue bottle, which is really nice, and it makes it pretty quick to add embellishments on two cards. I like to work in odd numbers, so I'm going to choose to use 5 different embellishments here on this card. And I'm going to stick with the smallest and second smallest size just to keep things not too bulky. I do like the larger ones here, but with this card being a stamped image, it's already quite a flat card and I don't want to add too much bulk. With a card like this, or a card that I just worked on here last week, but I'll show you here. With this card, I used this larger embellishment because if you can tell, this flower here has foam tape, so it's popped up. So already the height of the card is already a little higher. So it works well to use the larger embellishments on a card like that. But you know, this is card making, and if you want to use a chunky embellishment on a flat card, you're more than welcome to. It's just kind of my preference to choose to use something else. Okay, with this card, I just knew that I would use the sentiment with Sympathy because I tend to get a lot of requests for Sympathy cards from family and friends who need cards. Sympathy is unfortunately the top card that everyone requests. So that is just kind of part of life, I guess, but now we have a nice stamped sentiment to go with this one. So as you can see here, I have a little bit of tearing, but no one will know once the card is attached. But that was just a mistake from my glue being stuck on the card when I was prepping it, but no one will know. Okay, now this die is so pretty, and I thought that this would be really pretty with any color of flower, but I chose to use red. I'm kind of in a Valentine's Day mood, so that's kind of where my head's at. This die is really sweet, and it has quite a delicate flower look to it, so I knew that it would be perfect to go with the sentiment with Sympathy for that reason. I'm going to again pull out my reverse tweezers and position my main piece here just so. This is kind of going to determine the rest of my card. So I want to make sure that it goes down just so. Right about there. When I work with a die that's like this, and I have flower areas and leaf areas, it just kind of depends on the die if I'm going to use the leaf parts first or attach the flowers on first. I think that with this one I'm going to do the leaves first just so I can get those down, because I really want the flowers to be on top of the leaves if possible. So I'll just again use my reverse tweezers and some liquid glue and just pop those right on. Now, if you're curious to know where these reverse tweezers came from, they came from the toolkit from Susan Tierney Cockburn from her flower toolkit that she has. I'll put a picture on the screen of what that is, and I will link that in the description as well, but these reverse tweezers are just wonderful. Now, I don't know why I have an extra green leaf. I have no idea, so that's kind of puzzling. Perhaps I'll figure it out later, but such is life. Now, with this flower, I chose to use 2 different colors of red, and you can see there that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers to this piece. If you do have this die at home already and you're working with it and just watching this video later after I've posted it, you can see on the cover of the packaging that it comes with that there are 2 different colors of paper, and I think they use pink. So I just kind of went with this style and just kind of try to create kind of a realistic flower, but not too realistic, because it is, you know, kind of a dreamy image, but to me the 4 layers kind of made sense. And with this one, you can see, if you look really closely, there's 2 different of those star pieces there. There's the bright red and then there's the darker one, and I chose to add in one of those center pieces to the center of this. Even though they don't have that on the inspiration sheet, I just thought that it would look kind of nice just because the other flowers over here have that. So it just kind of made sense to me in my head to add that on. So with the greens, there are kind of places for these flowers to land, if you will. So I'm just going to kind of go with that, which is kind of a nice thing about this die set, because you don't have to guess about arranging flowers just so. Maybe you like doing that, but I know that that can be kind of intimidating for some people of figuring out the perfect placement, and a die like this has the placement all ready for you, so I do kind of appreciate that about this die. These flowers are just so pretty. I think these ones are roses. or something like a rose. Again, I'm terrible with flower names, so if it's something you know, let me know in the comments. Now these little flowers were so sweet and delicate. They reminded me of the flowers that came with the wax seal collection. And now that I have this die, I could maybe pair some of these with those wax seal dies and kind of use these flowers as embellishments. So that's kind of fun to mix and match different die sets together that have similar looks to them and make kind of your own thing. Oh, that is so pretty. Now to finish off the card, I'm going to add black smooth discs, and these are also from Spellbinders. I'm going to start with 5 and see how it looks and perhaps do more. I did pull out quite a few from my little packaging, but we'll see what I kind of decide as we go. The smooth disc pack has lasted for so long. I've had this package open for, I don't know, probably 6 months now, and I have pulled them out quite a few different times to use them, and I have a lot still, so I definitely think that that is worth I think it's like $3.99 for a package of them. Well, I added 3 more, and now that puts me at an even 8, so why not? Let's just go with 9 and make it a 9. Just a quick side note on embellishments. With this card, I chose to have the embellishments kind of swirling around the main area because of this die, the stamp being kind of a circle or oval area. But with this one, I chose to have a diagonal line going across the card just because that kind of helps your eye move around the piece. So in the art world, you're supposed to add movement to your art, and this movement of your eye going from right to left or left to right is kind of what I was going for with that. Especially when those discs catch the light, it is really pretty. So to finish off this Sympathy card, I'm going to add some Wink of Stella. You can see here on this one, I did add it and on the flowers there, and look how shimmery that is. It is just so pretty. It is shiny already just because I used the Versamark black ink with clear embossing powder, which is my favorite way to stamp images for Copic coloring, but I just love that this Wink of Stella adds so much sparkle and shine even after it's dried. You can tell here it's pretty wet, and you can see it, just the difference of that big flower going from super sparkly to the matte finish, and I just love a sparkle. And since this is in a Sympathy card, I think that having it be really pretty and special is so important, because if you're sending a Sympathy card that something has happened in someone's life that they need a little support with, and you're empathizing with someone, so let's make it beautiful and special for someone. There we have it. I chose to restrain myself and not add it to every single die cut piece, just to add it onto the spots where it would be kind of different and special. But here is a final look at both cards. Now this time I don't have a favorite because they are very different from each other, even though they have the same embossing folder on the background, the same oval die, and I love both of them. But if you do have a favorite, please let me know in the comments below, and I'd love to hear what's your favorite. Anyway, if you've liked the video, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. It really does help my channel along if you like and subscribe to the channel. You don't have to pay anything to be a subscriber. You just have to sign into YouTube with an email address. So it costs you nothing, and it definitely helps out my channel. So I really would appreciate that. Anyway, thank you again for watching all the way to the end, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.